The second generation Peugeot 308 SW is a rarity, a compact estate car that not only looks good, but is really practical too. There's no 7-seat option this time round, but otherwise, unless you come in search of cutting-edge dynamics, this model's hard to fault, thanks to a classy interior, a comfortable ride, some excellent efficiency numbers, and, most importantly of all, enough space in the boot to embarrass every other rival in this segment.
Peugeot's engineers set out to make the driving experience offered up by this 308 SW model as similar as possible to that of the hatchback variant it's based upon. And by and large it is, despite the necessary suspension tweaks made to cope with the extra weight this car may have to carry. You get a 6-speed manual transmission in the variant that'll probably be the UK's strongest seller, the 115 brake horsepower 1.6 litre EHDI diesel. It's only a few £100 more than the base 92 brake horsepower 1.6 litre HDI diesel starter model, but offers a useful extra turn of speed, 0 to 62 miles an hour in 12.5 seconds en route to 117 miles an hour, without any real running cost penalty thanks to the 6th gear ratio and stop and start system that you get as part of the EHDI package. The future of diesel motoring, though, lies beyond these engines, with Peugeot's pricier Euro 6 compatible Blue HDI technology, which is at its most efficient in the 120 brake horsepower 1.6 litre form I'm trying here. As you might expect, the performance is very similar to that of the old tech 1.6 litre EHDI variant I just mentioned, but the efficiency returns are in a different league that no eco-minded diesel rival can match. I should also mention that you can also go Blue HDI 308 SW motoring in pokier 2 litre 150 brake horsepower form, but the on-paper performance advantages are tiny and the running costs are much higher, so unless you really need the extra torque for towing or something, I'd save you money. Top of the diesel range is the sportier 2 litre Blue HDI 180 GT model. On to petrol power. To be frank, it's refreshing to find a car in this class that can still offer a truly credible and realistically priced petrol-engined option these days. But you'll find one here in the willing, revvy little 1.2 litre eTHP units, these being some of the best petrol power plants you can buy in this entire segment of the market. The eTHP unit may only offer 3 cylinders, but it punches well above its weight, whether you choose it in 5-speed 110 brake horsepower or 6-speed 130 brake horsepower guise. For properly serious outright performance though, you'll need quite a bit more capacity up front, which you'll find in the petrol GT model, which gets a 1.6 litre THP turbo unit. An estate car ought to be properly bigger than the family hatchback it will usually have been derived from. The fact that so few of the smaller ones are is down to laziness and cost-cutting that usually sees estate versions of Focus-sized models sharing exactly the same wheelbase and underpinnings as their hatchback counterparts. When it came to this 308 SW though, Peugeot did the job properly, thanks to a light, rigid EMP2 platform that enabled them to give this car a wheelbase 110mm longer than that of the ordinary hatch. Lift the rather heavy plastic tailgate. It's a pity there's no option for merely lifting the glass to put in smaller bags. And the wide aperture reveals the largest loading bay in the class, the 660 litre cargo bay, 30 to 40% bigger than that offered by some direct competitors. Smaller items, meanwhile, can be secured by an elastic strap on the left-hand side trim, and just above that you'll find one of the levers for the clever Magic Flat seat folding system. The magic bit refers to the way that the rear seat backs don't just flop onto the seat bases, as would be the case with some rivals. That would create an upward incline in the flattened cargo area floor. To avoid that in this 308 SW, the seat bases move forward and down slightly as you pull that magic flat lever. And sure enough, as a result, you do get a remarkably flat loading bay. with a class-leading 1,660 litres of space, or theoretically up to 1,775 litres if you load right up to the roof. A unique selling point. Peugeot has always been determined that its compact estate models should have one. With the old 307 SW and first generation 308 SW models, that was offered by the option of third-row seating. Here, though, the emphasis has switched from people to packages, with a luggage bay that's quite simply of an astonishing size for this class of car. You don't realise that by looking at the thing, because the styling doesn't suggest predictable practicality. But then there's nothing that's really predictable about this car. Take, for example, the way that in ETHP petrol-powered form, this prodigious load lugger can return almost 60 miles to the gallon and put out only 111 grams per kilometre of CO2. Or blue HDI technology that could see you getting over 85 miles to the gallon and putting out as little as 88 grams per kilometre of CO2. Almost wherever you look, the surprises keep on coming. Which is not to suggest this car to be faultless. It doesn't offer the most dynamic drive in the segment, though it does deliver one of the more comfortable ones. And the infotainment touchscreen system can occasionally be a little frustrating to use. These two issues apart, though, there really isn't a lot wrong with this 308 SW. It's a very well thought out product indeed.